My rapist is dead. The reason I tell you this is I just found this out a couple of hours ago. And what I'm feeling right now is pissed off. I'm angry. And it's not relief. It's not relief that he's dead. And a lot of people ask me, would you forgive the person who did this to you? And after 31 years of searching for him, I finally found out and confirmed today that he was dead for the last 5 years. He was hacked to death by his own son. In a gruesome way to die, and I would not wish that on anybody. But the reason I'm angry is because of the injustices of it all. I was 13 and he was a policeman. And the reason I'm talking about it today is because I'm angry about the injustice. I'm angry about the fact that there are many people who get away with this every day. There are people who are not brought to justice because our systems are so flawed that the people who are meant to uphold it are sometimes some of the people who are the perpetrators of injustice and abuse. And this is one of the things that I feel so deeply about, and I've been fighting this for so long. And to hear that, and to finally hear that he's no longer here. I know many people will say, well, you should rejoice. I don't rejoice in the death of somebody. But the thing that I am angry about is that there are so many people who will go to their graves never having answered for the pain and the filth and the disgusting things that they actually did on this earth. And it's not for me to judge. And yet, I am at that point where I realize that there are a lot of people who need to be brought to justice. And you don't have to be somebody fascinating or fancy or have a title. It's happening in your own homes. It's happening in the workplace. It's happening in social engagements and environments. That is why our world is so plagued with such filth and disgust. There's so much anger and there's so much disconnect. And yet there's so much love and there's so much kindness and there's so much compassion. And when I look at this and what's happened, I was 13 and he was a policeman. And the part that pisses me off the most is that when I went to the police station, they actually said to me, he's one of our own. Nothing's going to happen. They made me sit amongst murderers and thieves. I was battered and bruised and bleeding. They made me sit amongst a whole lot of men, and they said to me, you can wait for your turn. You're turning in a policeman. You don't deserve justice because you're taking on one of our own. And even when we went to court, I was put alone on the side in a small room with nobody there to protect me, nobody to help me or support me or tell me what is going on. And I had policemen come in and out and threaten me. They threatened me with everything that they could. I was only 13. The fear and the anger and the damage that this man did. People talk about generational curses, and they talk about you need to understand the pain of what other people went through, and maybe that is why they inflict abuse on others. You need to always be understanding, and yes, I am understanding. I'm always looking at the causes rather than the symptoms. But I'm going to ask you today, how much abuse and abusive people do we allow to get away with the bullshit and everything that they do using their circumstances, their lives. They're depressed, they've got mental illness, they're high, they're filled with alcohol, and that justifies why they can get away with all of the disgusting things they do. And we've got to keep ourselves in a space continuously of healing. We need to heal ourselves because they haven't healed whatever was within them, and we become responsible for both them and ourselves. So I ask you, not all men are abusers and not all women are abused. So if you are one of those people who can't do something, then step up and do something. Because there comes a time in life where we cannot just sit and make speeches about things like this. There's prejudice, there's racism, there's anger, there's bullying, there's body shaming, there is rape within your own homes. There are boys and girls who are being sexually abused all the time. There are communities that cover up for each other. There are religions, cultures, traditions, customs. There are people who hide behind religion as well in a big way for why they are perpetrators and why they should be given a chance. Why are we always giving perpetrators a chance? Why are we always the ones being asked to forgive? Why do we always have to do the work? When we come together and we unite and stand up for these injustices in the work environment and at home, for the men and the women who abuse each other and the children, they abuse the elderly, there needs to be justice for that now. And I'm not saying that we need to hurt them. I'm saying that people need to raise their awareness, raise their vibration, raise their belief systems, change their mindsets, challenge the bullshit that is pervading this place, our country, our planet, like a disease. This is the filthiest disease I've ever come across. Human behavior, where they destroy each other through emotions, through filthy actions and behaviors and habits that does not make any sense. It's happening in our schools. It's happening in our homes. All of this discrimination and the sexual harassment and all of the filthiness that people justify, it's because he needed space. He needed time out. Bullshit. A person's body is not there for somebody else's use. I'm calling bullshit on that. Your sexual needs, whether you're a man or a woman, gives you no right over somebody else. No right whatsoever. Respect for yourself and respect for others is an imperative. And there comes a point where we need to actually stand up against all of this bullshit. So what are you going to do? What will you do tomorrow when you wake up? When you see nastiness happening around you, when you yourself are a victim of abuse in your own home, but you can't say anything because you're afraid, because you're stigmatized, because this is what culture and religion teaches us. You gotta keep honoring the family name and keep all of these pieces of shit safe so that the family doesn't lose their reputation. I'm sick and tired of that bullshit. There comes a time where you actually you have to stand up for yourself. This generational curses and this generational pain and suffering, it stops here. We have no right to vomit that shit onto our children and make it their responsibility when it always was our responsibility. We did nothing about it. That shows us as cowards. Three abusers are dead now. I do not wish death upon anybody. All I do is wish justice and peace and compassion for everybody walking this earth. And wherever you are right now, I just hope that if you're a victim of abuse, I'm sorry. Reach out to people, start to speak up, talk about this, and normalize standing up for yourself. Normalize standing up to bullies. Normalize getting rid of people who cause you mental issues, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts, because they're so mean, and their narcissistic behavior is actually demeaning you to nothing. Stand up for yourself. If you're listening to this and you're an abusive person, seriously, stop it. Seriously, stop it.